Game Radio, we go ham. It's your boy Tony G, Big Lou, the sports book every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. A lot of great sports. College men, men's college was Purdue, and the first game was Purdue and NC State.
Hmm.
I rode with NC State because they didn't let me down the whole tourney.
Hmm.
But I knew going against Purdue, it was going to be something. And you could tell early off that they were just outclassed. I mean, it was a good
Right.
game. NC
Hmm.
State hung in there. But they were just outclassed. I mean, they were number 11. It was really cool. The girls had made it. Um, it was weird. NC State's girls and UConn girls, everyone had made it, so that was kind of cool.
Hmm.
Good game. The spread was 11. They lost by 13. I thought for a second they were going to um, at least cover the spread, but it just didn't work out. They had fallen off.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they had really.
But it was an excellent run. It was an
Oh
excellent
yeah,
run. But the further you go, the more NBA quality players you had to play against. So
true, true, true.
sometimes you dig deep, you come through it. Sometimes you don't. But in any event, they should be proud. Like we always say, especially when you come from one of the smaller programs, you should be proud of the achievement that you made, this season. It's excellent run for you guys. And I was rooting for them too. I put all my chips in on them as well, like I always do with the smaller schools. But
Right. And then
they just met their match.
yeah, they met their match. It was just now Alabama and UConn. I rode with UConn because I rode with UConn the whole way. Um,
Yes.
and Alabama put on a good run, make it to the Final
Hmm.
Four. That program's come a long way. They were like their record wasn't as good as UConn's. They were 25-12. UConn was
Hmm.
36-3. But it was a good game. You again, this is another perfect example of where you can see the talent level was just a notch above, and we went
Right.
with UConn minus 11. One there was a
Hmm.
good payday. Um, like I said, this tournament has provided us with a lot of good gambling and a lot of good scores and games. Really was a now going to. I want to pull this up. All right, we're going to go to Friday before we get to. All right, so Friday was NC State women's against South Carolina.
Hmm.
South Carolina just proved to be too much for NC State women. They
Right.
beat them by almost 20. Um, but again, another good run for NC State women's
Hmm.
basketball.
Yep.
Uh,
He's making it to the Final Four.
yes, making it to the Final Four. Now, um, South Carolina is undefeated, 37 and
Yeah.
0. You got to keep that. You got to keep that in
Hmm.
perspective. Now, the later game of that night was Iowa against UConn. Now, one
Hmm.
thing that I noticed with UConn 2 nights earlier, can't remember who they beat. I didn't like their shooting. There was a point in the
They beat
game,
US. It was USC.
USC. There was a
Hmm.
point in that game where they missed seven free throws in a row, and there was some other bad shooting. And
Not
I said,
good.
"Man, you can't play you can't play like this and expect to beat Iowa."
Mm-mm.
And they gave Iowa hell. And
Yeah, they did.
Iowa came out, beat them by two.
Hmm.
This was a barn burner. Um, and it just great basketball.
Yeah,
I'm leading
yeah.
up to, yeah. So you got all right. Um, Clark had 21 in the game. Played well as a team. They pulled it out. Now going to going to the championship game,
Hmm.
South Carolina and Iowa. South Carolina being undefeated, Iowa
Right.
losing four.
Hmm.
Were you? I wasn't surprised by South Carolina beating them. I mean, I mean,
I'm with you. I'm with you on that, Tony. I thought, uh, now this is because of the execution of South Carolina. I had a feeling that they was going to pull this off. Didn't know they was going to win by 10, but I think because they won by the margin they won, I think that the UConn game took a lot out of Iowa, because they had to play that one down to the wire, and
yes, I agree with you.
South Carolina just came better prepared and they took advantage of that. Now, I'm not saying that's the reason why South Carolina won. They just outplayed them. But
They did.
that could be a factor that they had to play so hard against UConn to get that victory that, it might have took a little gas out of the team, really out of the role players, the people that play around Caitlin Clark. It might have took a little bit out of them, more out of them, so she couldn't rely to so much. She had to do a lot more than she would normally have to do. That
Agreed.
and that may be one of the factors that led to the victory. But I do believe if they were at full strength, I do believe that the way of South Carolina's played throughout the whole season, I believe that I put my chips on them anyway. But at the
Yeah,
same time, I thought they would have won, even if it was like evenly matched to where they didn't have to work so hard to get that victory.
true. I know Iowa's had a lot of injuries during the year.
Hmm.
Not to make any excuses, um,
Right.
but a lot of people they're like, "Oh, she's been exposed," and I was like, "Exposed?" I
No,
said,
she
"Man,
wasn't exposed. It's just you
played
go
a
up
better
against
team."
better teams, and
Yeah,
that's why it's a tournament. You play better teams, and South Carolina was the better team that night. And there's nothing
undefeated.
you can do about it. Right. She
Yeah,
hasn't been exposed. It's just that you run against a more formidable opponent. And they just,
yes,
take advantage of the weaknesses that you have, and they got the victory for that.
and hats off. I think um, again, I think the tournament's been great,
Yeah.
women's and men's side.
Yeah.
Uh, I
Both are off. Both are off.
think it brings a lot to the tournament itself. Like I said, we look forward to it every year. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, like I said, and since we're being recorded as of tonight, Purdue and UConn will be playing.
Yeah.
So
Purdue and UConn will be
hopefully,
playing tonight. Yes. Yes.
yes, playing
Yeah.
tonight as we're being recorded. And
Hmm.
I'm gonna
And
ride with. I've already bet on the and I took. Let me make sure. I took UConn. I went ahead and rode with UConn.
I did too.
Yeah, it just kind of one of those things. I know they both got two monster men. One's
Hmm.
7'5", the other one's 7'1" or 7'2". Um, so it's going to be a hell of a game.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm gonna tune in tune in so that I can get all of the key factors and key points in it. So we'll have next time we come on, we'll speak on it and
Oh
break it
yeah.
down.
So going to the NBA,
Hmm.
we're going to touch a little bit on NBA standings. All right. The other night I was watching the Lakers, and AD got hurt, and they just fell apart.
Right. He's
I
been the
mean, they,
glue.
yes, they're playing Minnesota. Um,
Yes, with
so
the
over
Timberwolves.
in so let me see. Let's cover the Eastern Conference for
Yeah, the
I mean, it's so
Timberwolves. Yeah,
yeah. They played the Timberwolves. They're in.
right, right, right. And
But
it doesn't look. Yeah. Go ahead, Tony.
no,
I was about to
no,
say
no. Go ahead.
it doesn't. If AD's not healthy, there's nothing. The Lakers are not going to make it if AD's not healthy.
No,
Unless they get something out of Dinwiddie, but he can't play that spot. And then AD is a problem because he's got inside outside. But and for I'm satisfied he played the majority of the season and he's been playing excellent since. But you know, injury sometimes injuries happen. So and when it does, the chemistry is off. So that's what's going to hurt Los Angeles in the playoffs is the bench. They don't have depth. They should like them guys should just roll, but for some reason they're on and off. You know, and when they're
now in the
off, they're going to get taken advantage of.
now in the Western Conference. So obviously you got Minnesota, Denver. Minnesota, Denver, and Oklahoma are very close.
Mm-hmm.
And the next three that are close are the Clippers, Dallas, and the Suns. And then the next three would be New Orleans, Sacramento, and Los Angeles. And you have Golden State at number 10. Out of
Mm-hmm.
all those teams, who do you see as a dark horse in the Western Conference that you go, no, they got a real shot at winning the conference?
Uh, I would say I don't with the dark horse in the Western Conference. I would say I want to say OKC, but they're too young. They're
Yeah,
too young. Uh, oh man, it's hard for me to say. It's like I find holes with everyone. I guess I had to go with either I would guess I would have to go with the Timberwolves or because the Mavericks don't have the size to handle the bigs that's in Minnesota and Sacramento. Uh,
right,
the Clippers are too inconsistent. They don't have, believe it or not, Rust was the alpha. There's no alpha there. Everybody's a B. So there's no one that say, okay, I'm taking this game over. There's no dog there. So you can't
right.
rely on. So I don't I guess I had to go with I had to go with the Timberwolves.
That I think it's going to be
You know,
between
other than, of course, Denver's the ultimate, but I can't rely and Golden State, they don't have enough. Their bench is not strong enough. So I would have to go with probably the Timberwolves because I don't think Houston's ready. I think they're talented, but I don't think they're ready. And I think OKC's too young. Phoenix has the same problems as the Clippers do. There's no alpha there. Maybe it's coaching. I don't know, but that guy was coaching the Lakers and they was having the same issues. So, but he keeps getting jobs.
right, right. Yeah, I have to
But
go with the top three. I mean, I think it's going to be between the top three. I don't see anyone else. I mean, I just don't see anybody else. Too inconsistent with the Clippers. The Mavericks don't play enough defense to win a series against a good team. The Phoenix,
right,
we've already covered. The Pelicans don't play consistent. The Lakers have some injuries. The
right.
Golden State, we already, what I mean, and Sacramento
Hmm.
Kings,
Yeah,
maybe.
I was saying Sacramento, but I was meaning to say Minnesota. I kept saying Sacramento. I couldn't get them. I couldn't get them out of my vocabulary for some reason. But what I was saying was Minnesota as as the dark horse. But even though they're the number one seed,
Yeah,
but as far as like with all of the talent and all of the seasoned players that these other teams have, all the experienced players, playoff players, and
right?
it just is not gelling. So yeah, that I was saying, man, even though they're the ones they could be a dark horse in a 7 game series, but I'm like, okay, who? None of these guys, OKC maybe, but they're number three. But like as far as dark horse, mm, it's hard for me to pick.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's going to be between 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Now going to the Eastern Conference, um, so much is on Boston.
Hmm.
We'll find out if they can carry the load. I mean, I am surprised at Orlando Magic being up in there. The Knicks are playing pretty good basketball, trying to bring basketball back to New York.
Yeah.
Cavaliers are having a good Indiana Pacers. Um, Miami's hanging in there, um, and Philadelphia uh, hanging in there. The ones Detroit's, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in Detroit. Detroit is bad,
Yeah, they're bad,
and the
and
Spurs.
yeah, Spurs also. Those two teams are really in the dirt, and I think they're going to eventually the Spurs are going to build around Wembanyama. But for Detroit, it looks promising, and then it gets down in the gutters. It's hard to understand what's going on with their franchise. Or are they
So
just missing in the draft, or do they need to, maybe some of the management needs to move around,
right,
because they're definitely not doing well, and they're drafting players and they're not developing.
no, not at all. So what's funny about the East is if you look at the Bulls
Mhm.
and Atlanta, which I both don't have great records, they've actually clinched playoffs. That's how bad Brooklyn, Toronto, Charlotte, Washington, and Detroit are.
Yeah.
They've already both, yeah. Um, Atlanta's like 36 and 42. It's not like
Hmm.
they're power. Yeah, they've had they had a bunch of injuries, um, not living up to some of the hype. Um,
Yeah. I think they're going to have to move Trey Young and start over. But they can't
yeah,
put
I
nothing
think,
around him, and there's definitely an issue with the coaching, but I think they're just gonna have to cut their losses and try to rebuild that thing.
well, I kept thinking Miami Heat was going to add some more powerhouses for Butler.
I did too,
I
but
mean,
they're
they've made
very
some,
wide. They're a tight wad team, you know. They don't like to pay a lot to players. So, it works, but if you gotta pay if you want that championship, you're gonna have to pay. I mean, they had to get LeBron, D Wade, LeBron, and Chris Bosh, along with some other people, high profile free agents. So they, they're
yeah,
gonna have to get
because they're
up
not,
there if they're gonna do so.
yeah, because they're moving side to side, not moving up. Um,
Right.
they'll have a winning record, but without help, I just don't see Butler making a true run. Um, he only could carry them so much. Um, and I know financially they're in a good spot. And I know Indiana is going to be in a good spot. They've let a
Yeah.
lot of people go, so they're going to have a bunch of money at the end of the year to uh, to spend. Um,
Mhm.
and Orlando should be that's another one. Um,
Yeah.
now
Orlando,
Boston, if
yeah,
they
promising.
yes, very promising. Now the Boston, they've spent a lot of money, um,
Yeah.
but
They
but
could, yeah. Go ahead, sir.
they're producing.
Yes. I don't
So I
think
don't know.
I don't think. and including myself, I didn't expect a performance from Porzingis that he's given
Right.
because he's kind of, making things work for them. Tatum
Right.
and Brown are outstanding as always. And these guys are, I believe they could probably beat Milwaukee in seven. Since Doc Rivers is not proven to handle crisis situations on the court yet.
No, no,
That was
not at all.
all the way back in his Boston days. That was a long time ago. The game has changed.
Right.
So, so I don't, I didn't understand the hire, but we see what the results are. They're up and down. It looks just like Detroit did when he was there.
Yeah.
And you had two stars and you couldn't figure out how to get them to, or you couldn't come up with anything to get these guys, you know what I'm saying, to or take advantage of what you have, the talent that you have with Damian Lillard and with Giannis.
Right. No, absolutely. I think you're 100%. He hasn't. Um, and I agree with you. I didn't understand that move. Did not understand the move. I didn't understand what they needed from him. What was he bringing? Not saying he's not a good coach, but what was he bringing to that environment?
Right.
I
He did.
mean, experience.
Now I have utmost respect to his career, but right now and like for the past 3, 4 years, it just hasn't
Yeah.
happened, and we're starting to see a cycle, a repeat, a pattern, and it just
Yes.
hasn't. But respect to everything that he's earned. But now
Right.
we're not seeing, we're not seeing it, and so I don't understand how that dynamic is going to work. You know,
Yeah.
I thought they would
I
go a
don't
different
know.
route.
So did I. So did I. That's what I thought. Um, but I
And
think this.
mhm.
No, go ahead.
So I was saying, and them losing, is it Bobby Portis losing him to the
Yeah.
Celtics
Right.
because he was their defensive guy. The guy that you could put on the guard, slow the game down, and now he's playing with Boston, which is
Right.
excellent because now they have the X factor now.
Yes.
How would you let him
Yes.
go to Boston? Was he was the free agent?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm sure they didn't. I'm sure they didn't push him over there,
yeah,
but
yeah, right.
Boston,
But,
Boston is loaded, man. They got
mhm,
great defense, great shooter. I mean, they're. Um, I don't want to give them the NBA championship just yet, but they are heavy favorites. You
mhm,
can't deny that. I mean, it's
right.
they're heavily favored. Um, I mean, it's a good bet. I have to look them up. Sorry, let me show you here. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. What are they? That's going to be a prop, a future. My bad, it's a prop. See if I can probably +5. Um, but it's not. Other than them not having injuries, it's a good bet.
Mhm.
That's for sure. I think. Um, let's go here. Boom. Let's go. See if we can get. Yeah, weather's. Woo. Weather ain't cooperating tonight.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
right. I just heard it on my side.
Yeah, it's kind
I
of
just heard it
crazy.
on my side. Yeah, I guess the solar eclipse brought the weather.
And now
Made
it's
made it
bringing. Yeah,
you know, yeah, but
now it's bringing tornadoes and hail and
yeah,
everything else.
yeah. The conspiracy theorists would say CERN, but that's another podcast.
That's another podcast. Yes. So we'll have results next week on the NCAA championship. We'll have basketball, and you heard we got somebody. we got somebody new joining our team, Jay Party.
Oh, that's what's up. Jay Party.
Yeah,
Well,
Jay Party.
welcome to the Army,
Welcome
Jay
to.
Party.
I don't know if Jay Party remembers this, but about 20 years ago, I did an internship when I had the stereo shop, and I worked with her at K103 The Beat.
Okay.
Sure did. She was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun working with her.
Mhm.
It was cool. It was real cool. Um,
Oh,
in fact, this one time we had drove to New York, and she had me call in as we further and further, and she do a live, and we had a lot of fun.
yeah.
Like I said, she's a lot of fun. I'm glad to have her on our KM family. And there you go, even more
Mhm.
programming. We're
Right.
constantly adding more and more programs. She's going to have a daily show. Like I said, go to KM Radio, press play, 24 hours a day of music. Great shows like ours. Jay's show. I
Mhm.
know that we got some other shows. We got Arthur Seats, the blues you can use.
Mhm.
Humma Lumma, come on, baby. I mean, it's
Yep.
we got it coming on. All right, guys. Well, I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Big Lou for tuning in every Tuesday, 8 o'clock. Like I said, hit us up on Facebook. We got Sportsbook Facebook. We got the K-Ham family page,
Mhm.
K-Ham radio page. Um, let us know what you think. Let us know if we got any events coming up. We sure would be happy to announce them and talk about them on the air. All right, guys, I want to thank everyone for tuning in every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. Tony G. Big Blue on KM Radio, where we go ham.
Yeah.